come back and start again after the break. Now we have time for invited talk. The speaker will be Dr. Engineer Magdalena Wurbel-Lachowska from Łódź University of Technology. Welcome, Magdalena. And yeah, she will be, yes, we are in a hybrid form and we are really glad that you are here with us in the real world. So the topic for today's talk will be embodied care from human data to AI-supported telecare for older adults. Okay, so Magdalena, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So hi, hello, it's nice to be here. First few words who I am from and where I come from. So I work at the Łódź University of Technology in the Institute of Applied Computer Science. And even though I work in such a place, I'm not IT specialist. I'm a sociologist and economist with management background. And what I do in my team that is dedicated for human-computer interaction is taking care of human factors. So I specialized in ergonomics and human factors in interaction design in anthropotechnical systems. So apart from being a teacher, educator, and a human-computer interaction researcher, I also put quite a lot of effort of popularize knowledge. So I also work as a science communicator. I conduct podcasts of Łódź University of Technology that are called in Polish Sztuczna Inteligencja po ludzku. So maybe let's translate it like a human side of artificial intelligence or human face of artificial intelligence, but I also very often conduct conferences and moderate debates. So this is about me. I wanted to say it because that will explain a little bit my perspective in my talk. That will not be technical perspective. That will be rather social and economic perspective of the issue. So what is the purpose of my talk? So I would like to briefly introduce you with the concept of something that we called as embodied care, that can be a way of rethinking, re-engineering AI-supported telecare systems. I will explain every term later on for older adults by framing human data not as something neutral, but rather as something expression of human experience that should guide empathic and empowering technologies. And I'm really happy that a few minutes before, there was a presentation about very similar things, because I will also emphasize the same aspect of human data and about how meaningful it is and how aware we should be about what information about us we can spread to others. So before we will move to things connected with telecare systems and human data, short background. So what is the social and technological context of the issue? So there are like 6 main aspects that I would like to emphasize now. First one is that European, let's call it as a Western society, is aging rapidly. So if we will look at statistics, in a few years we will have more than 25% of people who will be considered as older adults. Of course, this barrier is changing. So some time ago, we could say about someone who was 50 that he is an old person. Now, when someone is 60, he's not consider himself as an old person. When someone is 70, she or she, still they are not considering themselves as older adults. However, we look at this term based more on, let's say, economical definitions, okay? So this is something that is more connected with all the retirement issue and so on. So let's consider it as someone who is above 60 or 65, depending on the gender. So another thing is that healthcare workforce lacks plenty number of workers. So there is really big need in this issue, in this area. However, there are no proper workers who can provide needed help. Third thing is increasing demand for home-based continuous support. Very often, older adults live alone in the apartments on the third floor without elevator. So it means that maybe it can be some sort of prison for them. It is really hard for them to go out for a walk, to go out for shopping or something like that. That's why also home-based continuous support is really needed. Another aspect is that, of course, on the market we've got plenty of telecare systems that can support users, older adults in this case. However, most of those systems are rather reactive and impersonal. So this is just a regular device that someone can wear on hand, and then we've got some flow of data, and maybe there can be some reaction from the side of telecare assistants. However, artificial intelligence, especially generative artificial intelligence, gives us a huge opportunity in the aspect of more proactive, personalized care. And the last thing is that we really need to think about this human-centered and dignity-preserving care system. So, of course, we can design technical device. Of course, we can design some advanced system. However, we always need to remember who is a part of the system. So on every end of the system, there is a user, older adult, part of family, this remote caregiver, medical services, and so on. That's why this human-centered approach is really important. So after this short introduction about the context, of this issue, I would like to start with human data. How I understand human data and how we understand them in our team. So we can consider human data as data that are originate from, they're coming from our body. They can be generated by our heart, by our brain. Of course, human data can be also generated by our activities, by how we describe ourselves. So based on it, we can divide those human data into 4 main categories. However, it is really important to remember that human data, especially from the embodied care perspective, are not neutral. They are rather situated, traced. They are a trace of our life experience. And I would like you to look at them now from this perspective. So, and second term that is also important is how we understand embodied care. So it is something that is rather connected with some relational practices based on bodily experience, affect, situated interaction, in which technology, different kind of technologies, mainly in our case wearable technologies, can help to grab, send, interpret, and respond to human presence rather than merely processing data. So it's something more than just grabbing those data and analyzing them. And based on what I've previously said, we can categorize human-generated data into 4 main categories. First one are biometric data. They were also already mentioned during previous presentation. So what is embodied in this part? Sensing body. So of course we can analyze live signals, like heart rate, temperature, other aspects connected with how our body functions. And they are usually, because our systems are designed like that, they're consciously and continuously grabbed by systems. Second typology is called affective data, and what is embodied in this aspect is the expressive body. So this is mainly our facial expression, our gestures, body language, and all other things that can show what is happening actually inside of us. So if we look at how emotions works, it is not only about emotions, because it is said that usually emotion lasts approximately 90 seconds, but also what are the consequences of this emotional state. So how our body reacts to this emotion that appeared. Then the last group are behavioral data, connected with what we do, so with our actions. So the embodied aspect is the acting body. So what we do, how many steps we do every day, are we moving fast or slow, how long we sleep, what are our everyday behaviors. And then, of course, this behavioral data also can be connected with what we scroll, what kind of web pages we visit, and so on. This is just tracking of our activities. And the last part is declarative data that are connected with narrating body. So this is something that we think about ourselves, how we describe ourselves also in the context of technology. So looking at those data, so first biometric, something super simple, my own data from my own device. So those are basic things that can describe our I don't want to say that they describe our, let's say, health, because it's not enough in this case, but they describe our like vivid signals. Of course, we can say that, oh, okay, my heart rate now is 75, now it's like 98. For someone, 98 can be a lot, for me not. Yeah, I'm always, I'm high-paced person, so for me, I feel absolutely perfect with this heart rate. So, second group is affective data. My face looks so strange because I really wanted to achieve 100% in every emotion. And it was really hard, so I was doing a lot of strange things with my face, with just a simple app that you can just upload on your device. So based on very, let's say, delicate aspects of our face, we can identify a lot of emotions. Of course, artificial intelligence, especially generative, can do it without any app. 2 days ago, I do a lot of, let's say, experiments on myself, and I put a few pictures of me to my ChatGPT, and I ask about analysis based on my face. So I put few pictures from different, let's say, situations, and it perfectly described how I could feel in particular situation. And it was really good. This let's say, explanation, description was really very close to how I actually felt on those pictures. So he was even able to see a tension in the face. So even though there was a picture on which I was really smiling, and from my perspective it looked really cool and chilled, he noticed some elements and just described them. So this is also a very important aspect that can be used in telecare system. So if we will use camera to analyze facial expression, we can learn a lot from that kind of information. Then we got behavioral data, also my own, so how I, let's say, I'm looking for a word. So let's leave this word. So what are my main everyday paths? How many steps do I have every day? What are my typical paths? Where is my work? Where is my home? So those are also very insightful data from the perspective of telecare systems, especially if you would like to analyze aspects connected with the influence of activity on the health, or if you would like to see where are the most problematic, let's say, geographical areas for some person. But also other things like how long time we spend on particular, let's say, apps, scrolling, watching movies, and so on. And yeah. This is just example, how can we use our everyday activities, our everyday actions, and how they can give us some insight about what we actually do. So checking Facebook, location, interaction patterns, reading time. This is Facebook, but it can be whatever we want, yeah? So if we look at that kind of data from the perspective of our users who are part of this telecare system, we can learn actually a lot. We can combine plenty of data to create a whole view of a person. Maybe I will just jump to the last point, yeah? Using ChatGPT or other AI tools, prompts, topics of interest, emotional tone, usage time. Of course, now our users, typical users of telecare system, they don't use GPT chat. Okay? However, they will start to do it. Look what people started to do in GPT chat. Who of you ever discussed their everyday problem there? You never done it? Everyday problem. Like, for instance, last time my mother sent me an SMS and I really had no idea what to answer. So I asked ChatGPT, please help me. And she was so happy. Because if I will react from my, let's say, natural position, probably I would be a little bit aggressive, yeah? And I thought maybe it's not a good way. Please help me. A lot of research shows that people started to use GPT chat or other generative artificial intelligence as a substitute of psychologists. Unfortunately, especially among younger people, there is a quite high percentage of people who resigned professional therapies and started to discuss their problem with the GPT chat. So from my perspective, this is something interesting and unique, because something that was reserved only for us, our minds, our doubts and everything, started to become part of artificial intelligence. So for me, this is a little bit frightening thing. However, also it is quite interesting from the perspective of building systems. Okay, this is quite obvious, yeah, the pyramid of data, information, knowledge and wisdom, but if we look at it from the perspective of our system, so on the data level, we just have numbers, yeah, raw data, just numbers, just positions in some Excel or other file. If we will add to it this meaning, we can start to treat it as information, and for most of our users, they stay on the level of information. So they just check, okay, my pulse is now 101. What it gives them? Actually, nothing, yeah? So they know how many steps they've done every day. They are not doing anything more apart from just receiving this information. If we will move further, if we will combine this information with experience, with interpretation, context, we will be able to provide understanding. So in this context, if our users are more aware of what that kind of data are able to tell them, then they can say that, okay, a resting heart rate on the level of 92 for a 40-year-old woman may indicate stress or a lack of physical fitness. But it needs understanding. It needs something that was also mentioned during previous presentation. We need to be aware what it means, what that data can tell about us, and what someone else can do with it. And finally, if we will be able to make judgments and decisions based on this knowledge, then we can say that we are on the wisdom level. How do you perceive yourself? Who of you use a smartwatch every day? Okay, where are you? Yeah, here, but I mean on this pyramid. Are you making decision based on information? Sometimes. Yeah, so sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Very often it's like that. Okay, I've noticed that like 2 days ago I've done, I had not enough number of steps and I slept only 4 hours. So then I can analyze it and make some change. Maybe I can rearrange something, maybe I can add some additional activity or do other things. But also it is very strictly connected with awareness. Unfortunately, our users, especially older adults, they're absolutely not aware of what kind of significant information that they can receive. Yeah, maybe I'll just skip the slide. So, of course, this is very important to analyze data in context. So, what are the contextual factors? When we analyze data in our telecar system, we need to know who generated the data. We need to know a lot about our user. We need to know who is the person, how old is the person, what disease has this person, what are the, let's say, everyday regular activities, level of activity, additional information, where this person lives, with who, and so on. In what situation those data were gathered? Is it regular day or maybe stressful day? Or maybe there is additional disease that appears. What this device was used. Of course, when we analyze telecar systems, we know everything about the device that was used. However, it is also very important to be aware what kind of sensors are there, how precise they are, and so on. And finally, what norms apply in this cultural or social settings. Because this is also important from the point of view of our systems. So if we look at social context, who is included or excluded from data collection? If we would like to describe society based only on the data, of course, we will not be able to have wide view of the population. Cultural context, different norms and interpretations across regions. If ethical context, who benefits from data use and who bears the risk? Most of devices that are used in telecar systems in Poland comes from China or Korea. So what does it mean? It means that all data flow to Asia. And trust me, we know it from our project, that every device can gather definitely more than we know that they gather. Yeah, we had once malfunction in a system. We ordered the device, and we had some requirements for the device, and we had problem with it. So we asked producer to help us to, receive those data again, and we received much more than we wanted. And then we realized that it is quite interesting that additional information can also be collected, yeah? Even though from the technical point of view, it was not clearly visible that it is possible. Okay, and now let's move to the last part, so telecar systems. I would like to describe the telecar system based on projects on which we worked on. So this is first project. We were not part of this project. This is just a description of large-scale remote health monitoring program that was implemented in Łódź in years 2019, 2021. So very hard time, yeah, pandemic time. more than 2,000 participants, older adults from Łódź, took part in this program. So it means that they received a device for 2 years. They received free support, telecare center support, with also medical support. Each of them received this wearable device with instruction, with professional consultancy, and access to this remote monitoring center. And what we've done in this project, so at the end of the project, just after the end of it, we decided to conduct interviews with users. Interviews in which we wanted to know how they perceived that kind of program and how to design similar programs in future. Apart from interviews, we also analyzed the data from their wearable devices, because we received the access, of course, anonymized access to those data, but also we were able to grab some information from it. And it was really interesting. Plenty of users never used the device. So they had it and it was somewhere. Reasons, there are plenty of reasons, like they don't need it even though they wanted to take part in it. For some of them, they felt that it looked too expensive and they were afraid that they will destroy it and they will have to pay. For some, it was uncomfortable. Some just put it when they were going out. But there was also a group of users who wear that device for more or less those 2 years. So we concentrated on those users who wore this device, but also who had at least few interactions with telecare system and who used alarm button. So who at least had the interaction with also some medical services. And what we've learned from those studies, so first of all adults want support without surveillance. One of the reasons why they decided not to wear it was that fear that they will be controlled too much. So I knew there was someone out there, someone who would receive the signal, so they wanted support, but they didn't want to be controlled all the time, especially by their family members. Because a family member is part of the system, can in every second check what the older adult is doing. Do you control your kids? Like there are some smartwatches for kids. I don't want to have something like that for my daughter. Why? Because I know that I will control her too much. I'm afraid that I will do it, yeah? So there are some parents who use it just for problematic situations. There are some who control this kid every time. Human presence. This is also very important, that they felt that those telecare assistants are there, they can help us. Best system adapt to routine, context, and lived experience. So it is also important to design comfortable devices, because otherwise people will not use it. If they are too big, if they are not easy to put on, especially when someone has problems with hands, it can be problematic. And trust grows when technology is transparent. So if our user had no idea how it works, they were not willing to use it. It doesn't work, yeah? Because my sons told me that it doesn't work. They don't see results because on the screen there was just information about the time and about heart rate, nothing more, yeah? So those are the crucial things connected with this project. Apart from it, after that project, we decided to conduct a project with a company that has their own telecare systems. So we finished first project that was concentrated on personalized telecare system, integrating a wearable wristband with non-invasive sensors and telecare platform. So we finished this project, and now we do a project about predicting cardiovascular events, also based on wearable devices, and this is also part of telecare system in it. So how generative artificial intelligence can be implemented in such systems? So first of all, contextual explanation of health data. Jump from information level to knowledge level. and maybe finally to wisdom level. Without proper explanation, what we have, what we received, our users will never be able to understand it in a way they should do it. Adaptive reminders and guidances, everyone needs totally different ways of communication. Personalized tone, pacing, and support style. Personalization is generally the key. Yeah? Sense of safety and care rather than surveillance. So don't design such systems in panoptical way. So don't create another prison because otherwise users will never use it. Natural conversational interaction and reduced feeling of isolation through empathic, contextual aware communication. Of course, it sounds strange, yeah? People should talk with people. This is, I mean, from my perspective, the most important thing. However, sometimes it is impossible to do it. So in that case, this simulacrum can work. Maybe I will also jump the slide about how to do it, and I will move to insights. So the issue is to move from human data to supportive telecare. So shift from passive data collection rather to relational, responsive, transparent care in which we should interpret, experience, concentrate more on it, not only on data, on signals. Practice presence, not surveillance. And key ideas, care is as interaction, not supervision. Autonomy and dignity as design foundations. And trust built through clarity and communication. This is from my perspective, this is very important aspect. And because I don't have much more time, so I will just leave you with this slide. So those are things that should be always considered, not only in this telecare system, but in every interactive system. So autonomy versus safety, transparency of AI decisions, avoiding over-monitoring. This is something also very addictive. A lot of people, they are used of using wearable devices to track themselves all the time. On the one hand, we've got free flow of data with trust. So the positive aspect, this is the way to which we should try to get. On the other hand, we've got risk of data colonialism. So we can be the source of data on which someone else will take advantage. So I will just sum up with the statement that human data is a new oil, but only when collected, analyzed, and interpreted in responsible, contextual, and trustful way. And I think this is not only hint for telecare systems, but general, let's say, advice for every interactive system in which we've got, especially older users. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting and inspiring. Just maybe as a short comment, because we are a bit out of time. We all tend to think about the Gen AI as a being, yeah. And like you, Magda said, yeah, about ChatGPT, I do it myself also, yeah. But it's not. But we should remember that it's not a he. This is not something living. Yeah, this is just an algorithm who actually, in fact, doesn't know anything. It it's just a matrix of data. Yeah, AI doesn't know what things mean. Yeah, because he didn't touch grass. Yeah, we could joke like that. Yeah, but I think it's also very important from this perspective that people who use, like in this telecare scenarios, people should be aware. Yeah, what they are interacting with. So I think that maybe education, yeah, for the patients, for the users of such equipment is also very important for them to know what are the real capabilities and what they are actually interacting with. Yeah, so probably this is important thing. So thank you again. It was really interesting presentation and thought inspiring. We are now ready to move to the next point in our agenda. Invited talk: human technology interaction in the business environment. A case of an AI-driven addressable TV platform for real-time programmatic advertising and dynamic ad insertion. And do we have our speaker, Professor Adam Gałuszka, with us? Okay.
Hello, I'm online. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
It's great to have you here with us. Because we are a bit late, then without further ado, the floor is yours, Professor.
Okay, so thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to present the paper. I wish to be in Warsaw, but yes, that's it. I would like to show you the results of one of the projects that were run by the Warsaw Stock Market. I would like to show my screen. Let me check if I'm able to do that. So now, if all is okay, you should be able to see my screen. Where is the presentation? Is it correct? Can you see my presentation? Okay.
Yes, it's fine.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. Okay, so thank you for the introduction. The title is, as you see here, and I would like to say that listening the previous very interesting talk, in many aspects, we meet the problems and we try to solve it, where was mentioned by Dr. in the previous talk. But here we add to our considerations also, we add the money to our considerations, because it is project run by the Warsaw Stock Exchange, which now is dealing with many projects extending the domains. It means using the experience of the Warsaw Stock, they extend the domains. It means that they start the cooperations with the scientists. We are very happy from that, mainly in the field of artificial intelligence, or general, more specific, like the machine learning algorithms, in order to increase the efficiency of auctions in many aspects. Yes, so traditional, it is the trading, but one of the projects that was successfully finished previously was connected with the logistics. And here you have an example of the better placement of advertisement. So that is why we were interested in that topic. Please let me go to shortly describe the motivation of that. So it was noticed that there are some limitations for the traditional approach in TV of placing the advertisements. When we use the internet media, we know how the ads are precisely fits to our needs, let me say, if we have such needs. And the traditional TV has not such possibilities. But there is a possibility to extend these things in the following way. Please note that in that problem, we have generally 4 actions are played. Let me say, if the problem will be treated as a game problem, they are treated something like that. It is the auction. So we have the advertisers, we have the operators, we have the broadcasters, and we have the end customers. Yes. So we would like to use the information coming from all of them. Some informations are limited, some informations are more rich, let me say, yes, and combine it in order to more accurate assign the advertisement to the final customer, and with additional constraints, like having the same budget. Yes, so the advertiser, sorry for that, keeps the same budget. It is our assumption, but he will have an opportunity to more precisely targeting the advertisement. So to join these 4 actors efficiently, And to build such auction platform that joins mainly the broadcasters and the advertisers in order to go through the operators to the final customers, the machine learning algorithms were very useful, yes, because they allow us to build a system of high automatization level that automates all these aspects and allows, as a result, we'll see, almost in real time to choose the proper advertisement and to send it to the viewer. Of course, there are limitations because final viewer there is not known. That is why the machine learning algorithms tries to learn from the sample of people watching different TV channels and so on. What group of people are our viewers, and what advertisement will be proper for them. Mainly, one can say that such solutions generally exist. One can say that, for instance, platforms like Sky Ad Smart or Google Ad Manager shows the potential of that solution. But we have on our local market, so we need to take into considerations additional constraints coming from the available technology in the TV. Yes, we are talking about classical TV broadcasting. TV, also some technical aspects, some legal law, the regulatory aspects, cultural requirements, and so on and so on. So on each market, we meet similar problems, and that platform is tailored to the Polish market, let me say. And some words about business context. So such AI-driven personalization, tailor ads to individual lifestyles, one can say, the interests, and so on and so on. But it is expected that it will build trust and loyalty, because yes, it is. We feel as an end user that these advertisements are directed to us. Yes, so it is expected that such the increase of such components will be observed. Also, in many cases, brands are built as stories. So the advertisements are divided into some pieces and they talk at full story, more complex. So now it will be more possibilities to properly send such, let me say, story to the end user. We identify key business benefits from such approach. First of all, mentioned earlier, the personalization. So the platform increases ad relevance, the viewer experience, because we reduce by such approach the ad fatigue and we remove irrelevant content. And also allows to send the dynamic storytelling, so brand storytelling. But there is also an aspect connected with crisis and communication during crisis. Yes, because when we are able to send rapid, designed and tailored, personalized information, it is easier to reach the end user, which, taking into account the demographic, some not limitations by the demographic aspects. So whether you live, I don't know, in a block or in a flat, in a house, countryside, or the city, in the crisis situation, such precise information could be sent to end users. Yes, so doing such things, so having the ability of tailoring this crisis information, it is expected that also the reputation and trust to the broadcaster can increase. So it seems that finally it could be also treated as a win-win strategy for almost all actors that are taken into account in that problem. Of course, we need to be ready, and also it was mentioned in the previous talk, with the risks and ethical challenges. Yes, it is about, of course, privacy, because we will collect a lot of data, but also because of level of automatization of the whole process. It means the decisions which ad should be sent to each end user or group of end user. We will see on the example that, like in machine learning, our end users will be divided just to groups for which we are able to receive from which we were able to receive the data. So there is a content placement risk. Yes, so if it is done rapidly in real time, this choice of the ad, there is some risk. Then the content will be not proper, controversial, or yes, not satisfying all requirements for such content. Additionally, the algorithmic bias mentioned here also can cause discriminatory targeting, excluding some social groups from the marketing offers. So these three shown here components should be taken into account when designing the platform. So finally, the strategic recommendations identified here to build a system that could be applied and could be sold on our market in Poland is to have the transparent data practices applied here. The content filtering tools should be also applied. The bias auditing should be applied in order to limit this undesired or to cut this undesired behavior of an algorithm. And that's it about the business context. Maybe, I don't know, here, later or now, it is worth to mention that the system is built, is now at the stage, is ready to sell, ready to introduce on the market, dependently on the decision makers, of course, the high level decision makers. But it was built in Poland based on our, let me say, experience. So with applied high cyber security, highest tools also from our market. So we try to build a system which has a high level of cyber security. Yeah? So it is how we try to deal with the undesired things mentioned earlier, like for instance the devices could be Chinese and so on and so on. Please note that also in that case the device in the end user delivered by the broadcasters also are delivered from the different companies. So there is a risk here, but let me say the core of the system is cyber secure, is secure from that side. Let me now show you just a little bit of technical aspects, so you see some exemplary profile of the users. Maybe it is not so interesting, so let me skip it. And show the two sources of data. It is the traditional TV. So the one source of data is that shown here, customer relationship management system, so-called, when we have the subscriber information like age, gender, location, and so on and so on. These data are used to validate behavioral profiles. It captures billing and service detail. And this module, this system, first source of data, is treated as a baseline for testing prediction accuracy. But we have the decoders that also are able to send a return information, and they are called here the return path data decoders. So the decoder returns feedback signals. Yes, from the sample that were analyzed within the project, we have, as you see here, a quite samples. It was like 10 to 15 million records per day, and the events were stored except the device ID, timestamps, channel ID. And so it was sent what channel was observed from this on that device, in which moment, start, stop signals, demographic identifiers, real-time channel use. Yes, so such information was sent. But you see here that there is a lot of different amount of information. So finally, it requires custom event merging algorithm, let me say, to reconstruct the history, the viewing history for a given, for a group of end user. And the sample we used to learn, to train the machine learning algorithm as a one aspect, of course, of the project is given here. It is ordered, decreasing order of the amount of people, of the number of people that from that we collect the data. So you see that it is highly unbalanced data, very difficult to deal, because we have, for younger people, it seems obvious, yes, that for younger people we have a low number of people with let me say, agreed to take part in that research, a higher number of older people. So it is one part of the data. The second part from this machine learning algorithm, one of the machine learning algorithm is shown here. So it is the 4 day parts, and we have some also 17 classes or TV show categories. So we tried to check where it is able, let me skip, where it is if we are able to identify the group of targeting people, one from that 17 groups, giving the data coming from the decoders and combining in from the data like localization and from this first source, yes, of the information. It is presented here, the confusing matrix. We know that the best it will be if on the main diagonal will be only the highest numbers, and outside this main diagonal of that matrix, of the table, there will be as low numbers as only possible. You see that it is different for different group of peoples, but on the right side, you see the precision that is not so high, but is quite high comparing to the, let me say, the random chance we have here. But dependently of the group, we received finally up to 60, more than 60% of the accuracy. Here also additionally, if we have a size, household size taken into account, it also significantly can influence the result of the targeting. So we see that we have more classes now by extending, taking into account single versus non-single distinction. So we have the key findings that allows us to build a system. Finally, let me go maybe to the idea, or to the diagram, system architecture, some overview. On this system architecture, there is nothing interesting at this level, at this stage. But here we see that the heart of the system is the auction platform that joins the information from the CCP. These are broadcasters, DCP, these are advertisers. And also we have our data from TV send it, and the operator that just send the advertisements to the group of people identified by that algorithm. If we have technical results tested, because as I mentioned before, the system is on stage ready to sell. We have this 100% accuracy means not, of course, 100% of some predictions or something like that, but of the technical, from the technical point of view. So the system is robust for any, highly robust for interruptions and other things. We have received during testing under half of second per auction. It was the average time received like that, so highly, so very fast, let me say. So that is why, as I mentioned, this level of automatization was very high, but increases these risks, yes, of the unwanted content. Security, verified encryption and data protection, what was mentioned before. We have some tests where with the web content standards were performed. So the system directed to TV, but satisfies the core of the system that norms or guidelines for this web content access, and is ready for commercial deployment. During our work, we of course have some lessons. We learned some lessons. We know what should be improved when introducing the next versions of the system, if it will be directed to develop. And mainly the last thing, please note, is we should be ready also in that field that all our decision-making process are more often made using or supporting by AI algorithms. Yes, by AI algorithms. The result of the project, so the project was supported by our National Center for Research and Development of Republic of Poland. So this is the acknowledgement, and that's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
We are a bit late, so I'm afraid there won't be an option for a question now. But we all have contacts, so if there is any questions from the audience watching us here or on our stream, you can contact Professor Gałuszka. So thank you very much for being here, and
thank you very much.
To move to the next part in our conference day, which will be a discussion panel chaired by Wiesław.
Thank you so much, Cezary, and I would like to invite everyone on our Human Aspects in Science and Engineering Research Group, HACE, annual panel of the update of our current network endeavors, AI, data, and XR-driven applications, from space exploration and dual use to therapy and intervention to digital art, biodiversity, and heritage. So there will be like 3 short parts on all those crossing domains and areas. So we will start with space exploration and our team from Exospace startup. So Barbara, Rafał, Victor, and Maciek, please join us.
Okay, maybe I will just add one more thing about schedule and agenda, yeah, because we are a bit late, so the panelists won't need to hurry. We'll just have a best paper about 3:15.
All right.
So we have like an hour that was planned. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have enough time to briefly discuss everything that will be covered also in our after the conference proceedings. Cezary, can we borrow your microphone too? Because there is 5 of us, so we will share microphones just to provide the proper experience on site as well as for our online participants. So based on our previous research using immersive environments and systems coupled with some objective data measurements, psychophysiology, for example, where you may find some our findings also in the showroom, and we will drop a word on it in a minute. So I would like to start our story for today with our recent advancements in machine learning or data science driven, as well as XR-based R&D solutions for supporting space exploration. In particular, we are in the middle of the European Space Agency Business Incubation Center Acceleration. So our startup, XR Space, which representatives are here, so young researchers and practitioners. Thank you, Maciek, for your smile. So yes, we joined forces and we try to develop some non-standard training procedures with colleagues from our academy as well as from the industry, Aviation Valley, and colleagues from European Space Agency. So first, it's important that this training system is based on objective measurement. So Barbara, can you drop a word on what actually means the objective measurement and why it's important, not for research because we know it already, but for potential training like DNA sequencing in general. We'll get back to you, and later on Rafa will explain what is about this use case. We have some props for you.
Alrighty, so, okay, so one of the possibilities to train someone is the standard training when the level of the tasks that you receive is the same for everyone. And it is very easy to have the moment when either someone is bored because those tasks go too easy, or they are too difficult at some level, and someone may feel anxious about them. So this is why we need these objective measurements like galvanic skin response or eye tracking, especially the pupillometry, so the size of our pupils, because we can actually measure the cognitive load of the person. And then based on that, we can dynamically adjust the difficulty of the training to that person. So it goes with the flow. So it's not boring, you don't feel anxious, you are just at your perfect path. And also it is usable not only for the training, but also for the screening by checking if the person is the right one for the position that we are hiring. So especially if we have the companies with high value assets, it is important that we have a person who's, well, let's say, takes good actions in stressful situations, and it is rather unethical to do such scenarios in real life. That's why we are using XR environments when we can use also the haptic interfaces, but more on that definitely we'll say Rafał.
Rafał. So Rafał, speaking of haptic interfaces and XR, so XR is something more than just VR. So this is like, we may say, a true mixed reality, in action. So using XR headset, like the one we have here in our showroom, for example, Vario XR4, we can combine in real time the virtual scene, immersive environment, and mix it dynamically with physical elements like our hands or the microphone. So that's why I told you, Cesare, at the beginning that we can drink the coffee in XR without any hesitation, because you won't spill even a drop because you can see the cup, the coffee, and your hand. Alrighty, so what's the point of our use case with ESA and with Adam Kuzdraliński from Bioinformatics and AI Department of Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology?
Well, the main problem and the main reason we are doing is that when you work with the chemistry or biochemistry stuff or samples, you are working in some way hazardous, let's call it hazardous environment. So our goal is to create environment that allows you pre-train some situation that can be
can Maciej just hold the microphone and you can show.
Thank you. So the point is okay, sorry. Yeah. So the point is that we want to create the environment that users can pre-train some situations that are a little bit dangerous in the regular situation, of course, because of two reasons. Risk of some contamination, for example, or costs, additional costs that can be affected when you work with the wet samples. It's the problem is this, because usually when you work with the wet samples, you got limited of them. You cannot repeat the process unlimited times because, for example, you got 3 drops of some stuff that you have to measure and receive some results, and you cannot make any mistake. So our goal is to create some situation that users can pre-train and learn some movements, some step-by-step goals that are required in any biochemical step-by-step procedures that needs to be followed.
So what do you have in your hands, actually?
Those
are crucial parts of
yes.
of the process, as well as our crucial props. I mean, the elements
yes.
of the physical equipment that are used in the training, and everything else is virtualized around the trainee.
You know, these are 2 samples, the two tools that are specialized stuff. I mean, this is the pipetter, the stuff that collects part of the samples, and you are using this to use the drops, let's say, as easy, as simple as possible. And this is the thermocycler, the tool that makes some samples hotter.
So this is for DNA sequencing procedure.
And these are one of the tools that you are using for the DNA sequencing setup when you want to receive information what kind of sample I have. DNA is one of the most commonly used way of recognize some kind of sample of any kind. Of course, it's not so difficult like human DNA. It could be much longer. It's not allowed to do
some specific samples,
yes.
like a kind of bacteria or other elements.
Simpler one than the human DNA, of course. But these are
what is actually special of this thermocycler, because this is not the best or the most precise device on Earth, yeah?
Or the thermocycler is like the names. It makes the sample hotter. Thanks to this, you are putting in a specific environment that allows you to collect information, what kind of DNA is in the sample is.
Yeah. But the special thing about this thermocycler is that this is equipment that is already present at the ISS.
Yes.
So this is actually used by.
This is the same model that was
very similar model, but this small compartment is used actually has been used for many times by astronauts in some orbital DNA sequencing.
If it works, okay? So what is important that actually the astronaut, during one of the conferences that we took part in, Space Sky, one of the astronauts actually told us that, okay, he would definitely use our training tool before his mission because this experiment is just one of the many experiments that they have to proceed at the ISS, and this one was the most difficult, so this definitely would be helpful. And what is important, why to do it in XR? Because in real life, it takes a lot of time just by waiting. You do some actions and then you wait and wait and wait. The whole procedure is almost 1.5 hours. And in VR, we can narrow it down to 10 minutes. So you can repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and over again until you are the master of this procedure.
This chemical procedure, biochemical procedure, as Rafał, as a chemist, I mean, former chemist and IT professional and researcher. Alrighty, so I mean, this space, we may say, context also lead us to the aviation area. So for some time, our startup is also collaborating with Aviation Valley, and we join forces with some institutions and other startups from Podkarpackie Voivodeship, from Aviation Valley, on the general aviation simulator use case. So, Victor, what can you tell us about this use case and this area of research?
Yeah, like you said, with the Aviation Valley, we experimented a little bit and we tested that the data-driven XR environments are really good and really effective for simulations with very high ecological validity.
True. What does it mean? I mean, this ecological validity means that this look like what? Like reality, yeah? So very high fidelity content, but the other thing of the XR, which is similar to this DNA sequencing use case for training, is the haptics, yeah?
Yeah, the haptics, that you basically have that entire XR setup, extended reality setup with virtual part, but without actually being fully virtual, without not only touching the VR controllers, but actual haptic wheel, general layout for the plane, and thanks to that you learn that muscle memory before they will actually put you into the plane and then put you up into the sky and just wait for you to actually land, which is the hardest part here.
Yeah, so actually this is very important, and I think that Maciej can confirm it as a seasoned pilot and aviation instructor.
Well, yeah, actually, Basia said a very important thing about the objective measures in terms of the environment. I would like to refer to that. Objective, of course, if we measure, for instance, the skin, well, the voltage haptics, right? So this is something that, well, it's objective for us as a person that measures that. But actually, how does it refers to the actual thresholds, to actual well, individual responses to stress or to load is something that we have to tune, and we have to have well discovered and then mapped very well before we actually go live. Because those environments, especially the aviation, space, air traffic controllers, those are very well diverse uses and very well groups of specialists that have very high ego and very high belief that they do things right. So if we come up with the solution that well goes wrong for the first tests, they most probably will refuse or will try to refuse the adoption of the solution. So on the paper we presented on Space Sky this year in May in Astronaut Training Center, we actually proposed the approach of using even the simplest setups for a beginning, even the games, because they do create load, they do make people sweat, they do create stress, and we can start calibrating on that. And as soon as we are practically sure that we know what we're doing, then we can create custom environments, then we can actually spend money to do that, and when we are ready with that, we can proceed with some tests on the real environment, so we don't actually antagonize those various environments, those various persons that would like to potentially make use of our solution.
Yeah, so this is all the data-driven XR-based solutions that can be simplified, of course. We are also working on it. And this actually leads us, I mean, from the ISS through the skies and clouds down to Earth, because as you may probably know, each and every space agency, including European Space Agency, is interested not only in financing or supporting space research, especially space exploration research. As we know, the budget, the Polish part of the budget increased once again, so we are very happy that we joined forces with the largest countries, largest participants of the European Space Agency, like Germany and France, for instance. But European Space Agency and other space agencies, including JAXA, so Japanese Space Agency, they are interested also in, and the NASA, of course, they are interested in direct contribution of the space research to the problems down here on Earth, right here, right now, or in the future. So speaking of, we may say that our technologies that we are working on at the academia and at our XR Space startup also leads us to the solutions here on Earth, like drone operator trainings, pilot training, of course, or aviation training in general, but also we may say dual-use nuclear plants and other stuff. So this leads us, and as well as therapy and medicine. So this leads us with a smooth swing move towards the next part. So thank you so much, guys, for this part. We will get back in a minute with some of you, and I would like so applause for our participants. And thank you. And I would like to invite Grzegorz Pochwatko from Institute of Psychology, Polish Academy of Sciences, and Aleksandr Morozov. Yeah. All righty. And with us is also Monika Kornacka from Emotion Cognition Lab, SWPS University, Grzegorz Pochwatko from Institute of Psychology, Polish Academy of Sciences, and Aleksandr Morozov from our academy, from the PhD school actually, but Aleksandr is also a seasoned, have a substantial background in medicine. I mean, medical area, and with us is also Monika Kornacka remotely. So hello, Monika, can you hear us? A bit of perhaps we should wait a bit for the connection to stabilize. All right. So let's start with this direct contribution in terms of these haptic interfaces and things like that related to, for example, drone operation or nuclear plant operation. I mean, the hazardous things and these training aspects that we already discussed. Recently, with Grzegorz, we discussed with Military University of Land Forces representatives that there is a huge area of, we may say, dual-use application of such a research that we conduct so far. And of course, this is not only limited to this area of the industry, but also is connected with interventions in broader scope of use of the VR environment for psychological as well as medical aspects. So Grzegorz, could you tell us a bit more how it's maybe important, these aspects of the drone operator, for example, in terms of using safe VR or XR environments for the training?
Yeah, thank you. I have this impression that our technologies, our studies are not dual use anymore; they are multiple use.
Yeah. This is like a former notion.
Yeah.
Everything goes
everything
so fast.
Connects with everything, starting with perception of arts and in general navigation in VR. And now we are moving to some very practical applications with drone operators. But actually, everything goes down to the very basic level of our responses, of our very basic responses of our body or our muscles, or whatever we can actually measure in VR. So our recent advances are with the drone pilots and drone piloting. So both in terms of selecting people that fit best these applications and training them later on to make it very effective, to make it fast, and to actually obtain the best results we can ever have, even without huge investments and without endangering people and the equipment. Oh, yeah. There are a couple of important things in here. Also, I would say that I wouldn't like to say about that, but we can experience also some consequences of using this technology, especially in the battlefield. So we may, as a psychologist, I have to speak about such application, that we have to also think about the consequences for mental health, for well-being of such people. And in here, VR also plays a crucial role, as we can develop some protocols that will actually improve that well-being, and we already done it.
Yes, of course. In the space context, actually.
In the space context, actually.
Back again.
Combining art and science. Probably we'll speak about that later.
Yep, of
course.
A bit
more.
So, speaking of this intervention, and perhaps we also discussed potential medical treatment we may say, substitution to some extent, we should pay attention that everything right now becomes more and more data-driven, but this is actually, of course, multifaceted, as you said, a multifaceted reality, so we should take in advance into account various things and various factors. However, it delivers us also a strong foundation for evidence-based solutions. So this leads us to Monica and our current and future endeavors towards this kind of, we may say, intervention and the use of the IT systems, not only VR.
Once again, to this symposium, it's always super nice to summarize and update our work in Hayes Research Group. And today I decided to present the application of VR, XR, and also new technologies to mental health from a slightly different angle, because psychological treatments and psychotherapy are facing really big challenges nowadays. I hope you can hear me because my screen freezes.
Yes, we can hear you, but this is a bit delay.
Oh, all right. Okay, so I will continue with those important challenges for psychological treatment and psychotherapy. So the people from Poland might be actually aware of the ongoing debate on how to measure the efficiency of a psychological treatment, but those challenges are not linked only to measuring efficiency of psychotherapy, but they are also linked to how to deliver psychological treatments to people who usually don't, because of very different reasons. For example, economical reasons, but also geographical reasons. And the other super important challenge is how to adjust psychological treatments and psychotherapy to specific needs of a given patient. And all those challenges might be actually addressed, at least to some extent, by new technologies, including VR, XR, but also the use of algorithms, and in the longer perspective, also AI. So let me start from the potential use of VR, or actually not potential, because we already are doing it now in our research. So we can use this kind of solution for measuring basic processes, basic mechanisms of psychopathology. The mechanisms or processes that are usually not very easy to measure, for example, avoidance. Usually people are not able, or it's very difficult for them to report avoidance in a classical questionnaire. So what we're trying to do is to create experimental settings, but very close to their everyday life, for example, in virtual reality. And in these ecological settings, but created to be almost exactly the same for each participant, we can measure behavioral avoidance, but also psychophysiology and attentional processes through, for example, eye tracking. The other super important application is using mobile sensors and mobile apps to measure psychological treatments. One of the big ongoing debates is that in assessment of psychological treatment, we usually measure psychological processes and symptoms before and after treatment, and we don't know a lot about what's going on during the treatment. We know it from qualitative studies, but in evidence-based practice, we would like also to quantify those mechanisms of change in psychotherapy. And to do so, we can use mobile applications to systematically monitor and observe different
So maybe I can add one thing to that. As a psychologist, I will support Monica.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now facing one of the biggest crises in mental health in our country. Our recent studies, you can have a look at the Institute's webpage, that we have a couple of interesting reports about that, say that about 40% of adults have some mental health issues. It's like this part of the room, people having this. And we are in 21st century, so we have to drop thinking about 19th century and 20th century therapies that take long and don't work actually that well. We have to have short-term interventions that are evidence-based and based on virtual reality also.
This leads us to Alexandre, who actually is, thanks to your medical background, you are right in the middle of the process of the research based on your previous experience as a medical VR and as a developer of solutions towards addressing some vital or crucial challenges like chronic pain. So could you talk a word on your collaboration with also Professor Kuzdralinski and our doctoral PhD school?
Yes, as it was said before, that mental health is a very crucial part of the VR application for therapists. But latest studies showed that we also can influence with extended reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, not only at our mental health, but also at our somatic health. And it's already shown that we can influence even at such crucial condition like acute and chronic pain. In the beginning, there was supposing that we can just turn out attention from the pain to some another conditions, and it will not influence in some large timing scaling measures. But then it was showed that if we will working with a person with chronic pain permanently with virtual reality in individual programs, we can change their neuroplasticity, and that's how this person not only will try to change his attention from the pain, but that person will feel the pain in the lower level. And nowadays, what we're trying to do with Professor Kuzdralinski, with my research work, to take biofeedback from the person. We can measure the heart rate variability, electroencephalogram, other biofeedback, and see what environment and what actions in virtual reality can mostly influence for a person. And with the help of the modern instruments, with some generative artificial intelligence, with some machine learning instruments, we can personalize these interactions with virtual reality for each person and to find the best solution for chronic pain condition for everyone. That's our goal right now.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this personalized aspect of the medicine treatment, but also any kind of intervention, or you may say even artistic intervention, is important. And thanks to the, let's say, more or less sophisticated algorithms and data-driven approach, we can actually tailor each and every, not only therapy, but also, as I mentioned, even artistic intervention to the specific patient, end user, a human being in general. So we may also take advantage of our previous endeavors and previous research project to even directly make use of, as you mentioned, in our space isolation research experimental study, we made use of our previous immersive environments. So could you drop a word on it? How what actually we may from which projects we may just
you mentioned a couple of important things. So yeah, actually, I have to say about a couple of things we did, which started from very innocent approach to testing how people react to art and nature, but then. And I have to say that it's not only just one-time show. That the study that we did in a lunar habitat, in isolation conditions, it showed that actually these analog astronauts that are here among us today, maybe.
Yes, Victor, that's you, and Rafał as well, and
Rafał,
Kinga.
Yeah.
Kinga is somewhere here.
We actually tried this art and nature approach to test whether it will help to preserve or sometime improve the well-being of these analog astronauts, and it proved actually perfectly. So they treated it as sort of a psychological oxygen in these very hard conditions. Showing that VR interventions in such a hard conditions could be treated as a sort of an evidence-based treatment method that is actually already established, and we actually may also widen the scope of the of such interventions, trying to interpolate it on other domains, as for instance, those drone pilots or other people that actually live in stronger and stronger pressure, including all the citizens of this poor country that are living in the stressed situation of economic stress, war that is happening just around the border, and so on.
But we have our also our neighbor, Ukraine, and that's what we mentioned at the beginning of our conference. That we have for these days we have a visit from the colleagues from Japan. I mean researchers, thanks to the JICA, Japanese Agency for International Cooperation, and Ukrainian partners, and we are working together for the solutions for the better, functioning of the society.
All this could be viewed as a total depletion of resources that people experience, that could lead to asthenia, that could lead to increased stress, and then also in extreme conditions also some kind of mental problems, which could be treated with the new methods that come from scientific advances of new technologies. So,
it's important that it's not only temporary solution, but it can this treatment can be permanently that we see. And I think yes, the societies go further, and we should to use the modern solution for these modern problems.
Yes, also the problems or challenges are not only limited to training or simulating or research in general, but also to experience some art, for example, and that's why, for example, you may also experience our current endeavors on the reconstruction of the virtual Roman theater Volterra project that is in our showroom section. For on-site participants, it's freely available next to the retro games, which links us to the cultural heritage and digital art perception.
May I just drop one sentence to this? Because everything that you are saying actually comes from very old studies that we did with air pollution.
Yeah,
And
yeah, with air pollution.
So the framework, the thing that sits behind it, it's actually the framework that we prepare for air pollution studies that actually were also a great success. But then it came to the nature, it came to arts, and actually now it's applied.
All right. So speaking of arts, thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, despite the technical issues, but your message was clear to us. Thank you. And Grzegorz, just stay with us. Stay with us. You're our link between the nature, research, and art. Maciej, come to us, and of course, Piotr, if you be so kind, just join us, as well as Victor. And we have 3 microphones and 5 panelists. Fortunately, in the previous section, Monica was remotely, so it was easier. So we saved place for her in the middle. Alrighty, so Maciej, can you, as an expert, we may say, in several crucial aspects of digital heritage, before we move to the digital biodiversity and nature safety and using AI and other stuff, can you just shed some light on our research endeavors and future projects?
Sure. At XR Center, we have a fun and privilege to work with actually various technologies that make the reconstruction possible, of course, that make the creation of new worlds within games that we do create as part of projects and part of the also research environments, which kind of are games, but for serious purposes. So those are, of course, very important. However, if we would like to preserve those, then we have to figure out how to do that. That will actually not only preserve the hardware and the software and the ability to run those, but also to perceive it the same way as we perceive it now. Because of course, right now we perceive the old joysticks as a kind of an old school way of controlling games, and most probably in 20 years we will think the same about our crude VR interfaces we are using now. So this is very important to remember. We don't have any framework yet, but we do work on the process of distributing common perception, the communal perception in a crowdsourcing process. So we can capture not only the products, but also the feelings, but also the emotions, maybe some recordings and so on of different persons interacting with digital arts, being the reconstructions, being the games that people meet in, like in COVID, they used games to just meet, and we did that study on the astronaut mission briefings that occurred in the VR. It actually did increase the performance. So we work on that. However, we have to keep in mind that the performance of arts, performance of the environments is different across different people, even now, and we have to think about what will happen in 20 years. Or 100 years when we actually want to preserve it for sure.
Alrighty, so in terms of what Maciej said, what do you think, Grzegorz, how we can refer to this in terms of our current endeavors and plans for the
multiple levels.
On multiple levels as well, yeah,
Multiple
as usually,
levels.
because this is science. Science is, something complicated.
And
no, we should say in
already
simple words about
in
science.
simple words. So I was speaking
using
about
the banana, for example.
Using the banana, yeah. The banana was eaten yesterday.
With our students from cognitive science who are here with us. So, hello, everybody. It's nice to see you, guys.
I will start from macro level this time.
Right.
Okay, so recently, together with Maciek, we did a study that referred also to our heritage.
Oh yeah.
But in broader sense, in terms of analysis of Poland as a whole, and again, sort of well-being, but in terms of physical health. So it seems important to preserve heritage because participation in heritage and in experiencing heritage makes people simply healthier. Our studies
Whoa,
show
so
that
this is actually a bold statement.
that in the counties that can be characterized as counties in which participation in contact with heritage is higher, we have lower indices of long-term illnesses. So this is on the macro level, sort of a replication of our micro results that come from the laboratory studies of either space exploration and isolation and experiencing art, but also experiencing nature, which come from all the studies on virtual experience of air pollution that led us to develop an environment in which people can experience nature and benefit from it.
Yeah.
Does it answer your question?
Partially, but we don't have so much time, so we'll continue our discussion later on, and perhaps we will get back next year for another iteration. How far we moved forwards on our research together with other colleagues and entrepreneurs that just join forces with us in this research. So, speaking of preparing special or reusing or preparing special environments, we have also done some endeavors towards more effective workflows or pipelines for generating such immersive, high fidelity environments. So, Victor, could you tell us a bit of your research and research that you are involved and actually lead some of that research as a president of our scientific club, Exhort Center, Students and Alumni Club. So, just drop a word on it.
Oh yeah, I could say it all comes down to making very accurate digital twin of the place that we are trying to preserve, and based on the experience I gained from the past, let's say 3-4 years of scanning, of being actually on site, we are now developing a workflow that could very smoothly turn photogrammetry, laser scanning, LiDAR technology into actually usable site as a 3D model within XR and VR space with using real time. Or maybe even putting it into simple STL and 3D printed so we can, with our own hands, feel it and visualize it, not only the scale, but also the texture, the fabric, whatever we have there, we can use it.
So this is like a multi-stage process, I mean, that usually requires a lot of various tools and steps from the nature we observe, for example, as in Volterra project, that we the remains of the old building, non-existent building, have to be collected and reconstructed. Yeah, so this is or we may preserve actually something that is present, like with our potential cooperation with other museums and art galleries. So. How do you want to tackle this challenge? I mean, this multifaceted and multi-tool workflow.
I think there are two big challenges. First is amount of tools you need to use. When I was doing my first diploma, I needed to use like 4 or 5 tools to convert laser scan into usable VR-ready model that would work on Oculus Quest 3, which is standalone headset without a PC, basically. And another thing is that those 3D scans are basically points in space. And whenever there is a point in space, there is a vertex. And whenever there is a vertex, there is more and more processing that computer needs to do. And there is a general standard in game dev where good working object needs to be at most 32,000 vertices. However, laser scans can reach from millions. Our Volterra scan had 250 million vertices alone, with a lot of artifacts. So that's a little bit over 32,000.
Yeah, sure. So this is actually very, very challenging, we may say. However, it's doable, and there is a lot of math behind the scenes. So this is also a comment to our students that, yeah, math is important, and we will cover it inevitably. So with Victor as well. So Victor, so at the end, we think that we should have something that will facilitate this process and foster this process, or make it faster from the scans to the ready-made objects to be ready to be input to the real-time environment. Yeah.
Yeah, ready to use whatever we want, like XR, VR ready, 3D printing, visualizations, renders, all of this, but without losing any metadata that comes with it.
Yeah, so the
it's actually a very nice bridge here, because it's good that you make advances, because we have more things to scan. In fact, In fact, speaking of heritage, one more sentence about heritage. We are trying to replicate a part of our King's Castle in Krakow and the art that is placed over there, in order to, in general, again, get back to the perception of art. But we can, as you
and we have also
use it in different.
Speaking of the proximity as well, we have our local cooperation here with Warsaw, with many museums, as our academy is not only technical university but also has a art department. So we have some extensive collaboration and some new collaborations. For example, with Earth Museum here in Warsaw, and there is a tremendous artifact, I mean the chamber from the old villa, so it is also one of our next endeavor to be effectively scanned and used as an immersive environment for our research, and of course for the perhaps
to increase participation. Because actually participation makes people healthier. I will repeat it.
Yeah, so that's why we talk a lot about art and use of art in just to make our lives better. I mean, the level of happiness, of well-being. This is also important for proper balance in our lives.
One more sentence before we actually continue regarding the scan. When we do scan those physical objects, they immediately become digital heritage that needs to be preserved, because it starts aging at the same moment it's being created. So we have to remember about that yeah, we can preserve something physical, but then it becomes digital and it needs preservation as well.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's a good point. Actually, this is a moment of, we may say, digitalization, and it becomes actually at once a piece of heritage that will be seasoned, digitally seasoned. So this digital approach not only limits to the things that we already said, but what we mentioned in our previous panels, in the previous conferences, also heritage, but in terms of the nature and preserving biodiversity. So Piotr Gago, Vice Dean of the Information Management Department, is deeply involved in our long-term collaboration with some decent institutions like Jagiellonian University and some national parks towards a non-invasive photo trap information for wildlife preservation, I mean tracking, non-invasive tracking. Could you drop a word on how our current advancements are, and are we closer to the comprehensive system or not? And what about the AI? Because when we started, the identification process turned the answer that there is a Eurasian lynx that was tagged as a ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
many years ago.
Yeah. So we are cooperating with our colleagues from Jagiellonian University for quite a few years now, and we are mostly interested in endangered species, basically, and tracking their migrations, especially lynxes. And our colleagues from Jagiellonian University had a few problems with that. Mostly, the way that now they are gathering the data is through camera traps, which are just hangs in different national parks. They're gathering the video material, and they are triggered by the movement of the animals. Then our colleagues are just gathering tons of materials, so hours of videos, basically, and they have to watch it and tag on which minute, in which second the specific animal they are interested in, lynx or also other animals. When they appear, they just have, at least they had a few years ago, just a big Excel spreadsheet in which they just type in, like, in minute 1, the links appear and so on. And this is, of course, a ton of manual work done by them, done by their students. So we are working on a system that would automatically tag using AI and using different computer vision and machine learning algorithms, automatically add the metadata to the video. Sometimes the video have their different quality, whether it's night, for example. So the problem was not always that simple. And this is one of the problems, so just tagging and then actually using this data to visualize on a map how the different types of animals are migrating between different places. There are also other problems, so some of those scientists are especially interested in tracking individual lynxes, and usually they, just by looking at the video material, they are able to...
Particular entities, yeah?
So there are a few scientists which are able just by looking at the lynx, for example, identifying whether this is a specific lynx that they are tracking, and they're doing it by looking at the specific pattern of fur, basically.
By using their natural...
fingerprint, kind of. Yeah, and they have to teach the students how to do that, basically. And of course, we would like to also automate that and use this kind of a knowledge.
How to use the artificial intelligence instead of our natural, neural networks.
Yeah, so there's kind of ongoing process. We are still working also on the platform that would allow the scientists to gather the data, because currently some of those data are just stored on university computers under the table, without backups.
This also leads us towards the other project with colleagues from the University of Amsterdam on creating a space for gathering data from existing research.
Surveys, psychological researches, and so on, and sharing them with the community of the researchers around the world, basically.
Yeah, so we drop a word more on it in our paper after the conference, and we hope that we will get back to you next year with colleagues from the University of Amsterdam and Utrecht to tell you more on our advancement and how it actually works, and our struggles with the AI and machine learning towards automation of this system based on our previous endeavors and our research activities on automation of the business processes and other stuff. So this is all data-driven, as we know. There are numbers and math beneath the problems, as well as, we may say, reuse of the systems that we already created. This is actually the heritage, and as well as this leads us towards sustainability of the research instruments, like our old VAPE, virtual air pollution experience environment that serves us well for so many years from pre-pandemia actually era. So this is like, eras of in VR, this is like 4 or 5 generations of equipment, graphic engines, and it still works. And actually, you may experience it right here, right now, in our hall, in auditorium. And you can experience how it actually looks in a human eye resolution equipment.
It's old, but actually, it's based on such a basic findings of research of other sciences as well, that it will be actual in years and years from now.
In 100 years,
we will use it in multiple areas, and that's
all right.
thing.
Let's hope that we will, maybe not in 100 years, but we'll see next year and the next and the other, and with Cesare and our colleagues.
I suspect that in 100 years people will still have hearts and will still move and will still sweat, and all this stuff that can be measured will be measured.
And this is a proper research approach. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we will see next year. So this is the moment that we are about to close the conference. However, the last ceremony that is important for the moment. So Cesare, could you join me for a moment?
Yes, we have one very important thing for today before we close.
Yeah, so this is, do we need this chair? Maybe not?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Alrighty, okay. So the last point of our agenda, last but not least, is the Best Paper Award ceremony. Yeah. Very short and brief, but very important for the authors, or the authors. So how many?
We have, from what I know...
it's over 80?
It would. We in general we have about over 50 papers accepted papers from all over the world, from US, from Bangladesh, from Ukraine, from Poland, from Czechia, from Saudi Arabia. So I don't remember everything.
Truly, international conference.
Yes. So this is very important to remind. I also put it for the people on the YouTube stream. I put a link in there, but just to remind also people here that you can get on the MIDI 2025 website and in the virtual venue. You have in the menu there is an option virtual venue. Under that on this subpage you will find all the papers, all the presentations for now for all the accepted papers, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the conference, you will be able to get the papers when they are published in 2026 with Springer Nature. So I think we are ready for the
ceremony.
Yeah, for the ceremony. So we have usually, as in previous years, we have two categories and two papers that received the award. In the category of machine intelligence, there is I will just ask. Yeah, well, we have it already. So this is reinforcement learning tuned Socratic scenarios for healthcare students by Henry Zyko, Gulston Dagan, Shannon Ford, and Jacqueline Vaughan. Unfortunately, I know they won't be able to participate even remotely. But
because of the time zone reference.
Yeah. Nonetheless, we congratulate the authors, of course. Yeah, applause, definitely. Thank you. And the second paper in the digital interaction category is influence of achieving the flow state on learning results, a pilot study using biometric adaptive system for individualized assistance. Very long title. Basia, for non-Polish speaking, is an acronym for name, Polish female name. Do we have authors here with us?
Or some representatives? Yeah.
Applause.
Yeah, I feel invited.
Yes, please,
for the stage.
please join us. We have a. All right. So we have I don't know, maybe a picture. Yeah, we should. Yeah, so this is picture and picture diploma. We have like a diploma for you. So maybe I'll stand on this side,
all
this
right.
off on the other, so we can have a picture for LinkedIn.
Yeah. So for the photo reporters, just
a moment for the press.
Yep.
Sure.
Of course. Yeah. Just
better.
Orchestrate everything, and we will follow.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
Which camera should we look in?
Each and every one.
And everyone says award. Okay, we have it.
Thank you so much.
Let me congratulate you again.
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations.
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 Yeah, and we have like a small small souvenirs
as well.
Yeah, so there are two, and I have two more here. Yeah, so we can. Yeah, we also have like small souvenirs for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you very much, and we congratulate again. Thanks. Applause. Okay. No.
No, you're free.
You can close conference with us, no problem.
Alrighty. So
yeah,
this was the last point of this year conference. I mean, at least the on-site part.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to visit the online part of the conference. There are all of the papers that were peer-reviewed, so over 50, divided into 2 tracks and some special
special sessions this year. We had some special sessions this year also. So yeah, for the last thing, I would like to say all the thanks. Yeah, thanks to first all the team of the Laboratory of Interactive Technologies from the National Information Processing Institute, who all the labs supported the process of that everything could happen here, especially to our event coordinator Magdalena Mieszarek. Please applause. Magda, please stand. Yeah, it won't be possible. Also to our technical team, Daniel Snotkowski, Bartosz Muczyński, who is remotely because he's in Szczecin. Thanks to all the scientists who help us with the review process.
Yes,
because this is like this is tedious and big commitment, and we really appreciate it, because without that we won't be able to function. That's
of course. And I would like to thank to our authorities here at Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology and all the support from the organization, from the promotion office and administration, because otherwise it won't happen at all. And thank you, Cezary, for hosting and co-hosting. So I hope that we will...
Yeah. Also, I think we should also. It was mentioned at the beginning, but also other institutions. We didn't have representatives here, unfortunately. But System Research Institute, Polish Academy of Science is also co-organizer. Łódź University of Technology. We had Professor Romanowski and one of the invited talks. Also, Warsaw University of Technology, Faculty of Mechatronics. And Polish and Gdańsk University, Marcin Sikorski, Gdańsk University of Technology.
Of course.
So these are also the institutions involved in the conference.
Our laboratories from our Hayes Research Network.
Yeah, of course.
Your laboratory, Grzegorz laboratory, and Monica, and
Definitely.
ours, Exo Center. So I would like to also thank all the participants online and on-site.
Yeah, thanks for being here on-site.
Including our students from our new major area of studies, cognitive science, technology, communication, design. So thank you so much, guys, and see you next year.
Yeah, so I think this will be all. So the last thing would be probably we should wish you like pleasant holidays. Which are coming quickly, and hopefully see you next year.
And have a great new year, upcoming year.
Yeah. On the 40th edition of MIDI conference next year. I hope we'll see. Thank you.
Thanks.